Hello, Taurus. Venus is retrograde in the sign of Leo the Lion all during August. And on the 4th, Venus retrograde in Leo is conjunct Jupiter in Leo. But Jupiter direct at that time. So that's a formula. And it's like a little problem or a little formula. And what you can do is you can take that and derive, various treatments or various understandings. Like this and this equals this kind of a thing. Like a little algebra problem or something. So what you do is you take that and you're able to, the more precision you add to this, like where the person's born or where they live now, and astrocartography, that kind of thing. When you get into more and more specifics, and then where their sun is, where their Mars is, and all of these things, you can get to a very precise, more of a calculus. But what we're going to do for now is at the end of this angelic transmission, this astrology angel scope, what we're going to do is we're going to use this in the afterglow and the planetary aspects and astrological facets. We're going to take this and we're going to put it at the end of that, just for everybody's interest, and make it more fun for you and make it more fun for us too. So stay tuned for that. That'll be at the end. Or you can click below in the area in the description box where it says the planetary aspects. Yeah? Okay. Now we're going to see how your ruling planet of Venus affects you this month, Taurus. I'm Pastor Rosemary, Astrology Angel. Thank you for joining us. This is an angelic horoscope transmission from your mighty earth angel Uriel, the guardian angel who resides over all the earth signs, and your specific Taurus angel Asmodel, who resides over your fixed earth nature. And these are his messages for you in love, money, and health. Okay, the love transmission first. People, just as a heads up, people have asked me why I use the word transmission. That's because quite a while back I learned a system of transmitting angelic energies, information. It was from I learned it from that technique, particularly from Max Christensen, who's part of a Kuan Yin Buddhist group, and he's a martial arts expert. So that's where I got the word transmission from. It was a method used to transmit angelic powers and energies and understandings, and to be a receiver and a transmitter. And then at one point we get rid of the receptive part and just become a transmitter. That's the ultimate goal. So that's where that word comes from. Just to answer that question that we've been asked quite a lot. Okay, so now with the love transmission from Asmodel, everyone is tugging at your heartstrings, Taurus, in what probably seems to be an attempt to make you feel guilty, and that's for the month of August. So expect that to uptick in August, expect that to be an issue in August. And you don't really need to feel guilty. You just need to understand where other people are coming from. And we'll get to that a little bit more later on in this transmission, because why people change and sometimes look forward and sometimes look at the past and sometimes are happy in the present is dependent, of course, on what's going on in the heavens, because that's God's great clock. I mean, we say, oh, astrology doesn't affect me, but yet the sun's going to come up in the morning, and the moon is going to pull the tides and create the weather, and so that's the moon and the sun are considered ancient planets. In the ancient nomenclature, they're called the ancient planets. Just to make that clarified. On the 14th, there's a new moon in Leo, and this means that you can say no, however, more easily. However, other people will have a much easier time saying no than you, because this particular new moon in Leo is strengthening for fire signs and then secondly, air signs, and then thirdly, water signs, and then finally, earth signs. So you might not feel that you're as strong as other people. No, you'll feel feisty, like you can say no, but then other people will be able to say no easier. So that really isn't a time to try to push your martial will. Aries and Scorpio will have a very easy time saying no in Leos. So that's just, that's just, again, for that time. It's not forever. It's just for that time. A little bit before and after this new moon. Now on the 29th, the full moon in Pisces creates a situation where do nothing and accomplish everything philosophies, you'll be able to do that very well. Again, not forever, not always, but just around this time, this full moon in Pisces on the 29th, and before and after, like ripples in a pond when you throw a stone in, you'll be able to sort of have more for the less you do, rather than the more you do, the more you get. But these equations of what do I get, how can I receive, the ultimate goal of all souls is to simply bestow, since full happiness occurs in the bestowal, not in the receiving. So that will become more clear, and that will be, sometimes, however, as in the book Nano, Rav Berg makes it clear that sometimes receiving for the sake of the giver is the best way to bestow. That's not always true and in every situation. So, they're calculated and complex formulas that we all learn through the way we feel it. Our mind understands it through math. Our heart understands it through a different form of calculus. It's a calculus of the heart. Intellectus sinus, intelligence of the heart, has to come into play. Okay. Now, the money transmission from Asmodel, beware mixing business with pleasure. It's not good to entangle finances and love. Now, is this every single month? No. Is this for every single sign of the zodiac this month? No. So, things that one person, people say, well, you're saying this, but you do that, and the reason that and the reason they say that this holy book contradicts itself, or this scientific book contradicts itself, or this contradicts that, or the person contradicts himself, that's because they're not necessarily talking about all things at all times. They're talking about that particular, maybe that day. And if you want to get real precise, you can get down to what rules each hour of each day if you want to go that route. So things can get more and more and more precise, but then we have to know where you live. And we have to know where your moon is and where your sun is and all of that if you want anything to be precise. So just understand that. But this is not a good month for Taurus to entangle their business affairs with their personal romantic or friendship or familial affairs. It's not a good month for nepotism. Okay. The health transmission for Asmodel, for you Taurus, in August. The various systems of the body have a great need to dominate the other systems of the body this month, especially for you Taurus. So, and it would also be that way for people with a lot of Libra in their chart. Okay? So, what we want to do is encourage harmony. Now, this plays out in the various cultures and religions of the world, where one religion and one culture is going against another religion and another culture, where certain people are going against other people. Why? Because they want to dominate. I am going to take over and impose my way. And what happens is when you do that, the various systems of your body do that. And if you do it, and if you don't find harmony, then the body will no longer be in this physical plane. It will come into a full correction, and it won't come back in. We're not saying that's good or bad. That's why and how that happens. So it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. What is the goal? What are you trying to accomplish? Again, if we have all correction without any understanding that the will to receive has to be there in some manner, then you will not have consciousness and you won't be able to enjoy heaven, if you will. So if you want to say, I just want to go to heaven and everything's corrected, everything's perfect, and in heaven, I don't have to see anything I don't want to see or anything that offends me. However, if there's no will to receive at all, then you will have no consciousness, because you'll have no tension, no membrane. A soul exists with a tension between the will to bestow and the will to receive. So you won't be conscious. Okay, why did the fall happen in the first place? It happened so that we could be aware of all the gifts that God wants to give us. Without some tension between the will to receive and the will to bestow, there is no awareness, and so there's no enjoyment, no attainment. God doesn't have that kind of consciousness. It's just a grand ocean of light, of not the kind of light we see, but another kind of light, of a field of potential, a morphogenic field of all potential that we dive into to get our answers, and we come out with a fish and we present it to you. That's how we do this. Okay. Now, we're going to go over your planetary facets and your astrological aspects. Then we're going to give you that little formula at the end and kind of tell you what we get, how we solved a little problem. And that is fun. So thank you for, some people suggested that, and that is fun. Okay. Now, Venus is retrograde in Leo currently, and on the 4th, Venus retrograde conjunct Jupiter on the 4th. That's the one we're going to go over at the end of this. The 5th, Venus retrograde squares Saturn. On the 6th, Mercury conjunct Venus retrograde. On the 15th, Sun conjunct Venus retrograde. And on the 19th, Venus trine Uranus retrograde. Venus retrograde, trine Uranus retrograde. Okay, so this month's astrology formula is this. On the 4th, we have a situation where Venus is retrograde in Leo, conjunct Jupiter in Leo. Okay. What that does is that gives us an equation that equals commiseration being something that brings friendship and popularity. People want to commiserate their toxic emotions. That's what they want to do. They want to fantasize about what they could have in the future and what they used to have in the past, forgetting about the present. The gift of God is in the present. Present, get it? So they want to commiserate. And when you do that, you get a situation where people dredge up old relationship issues. And that creates guilt. And then you can make money off of that. Well, that's not, everybody knows that. However, it's toxic and it's harmful to the body. It will make you sick. So if one has to become sick to make money, then people really need to figure out, and if people want to make money off of other people's misery, that's fine. But that is not ultimately where the Most High is bringing us. The Most High is bringing us to a situation where we become rich in finances and in friendship and in all the aspects of our life through doing things that make us feel well and healthy, not through things that make us sick, and where we attain riches through making other people, helping them come to their highest good and what makes them feel well, not what makes them sick. Okay, now let's do a little bit of a breathing, abdominal breathing, to lock us into our crown chakra, or at least get us closer to it. Into the Sephira of Kether in Rosicrucian Kabbalah. Let's breathe abdominal breathing. Lower abdomen. Brings you back to, it's called the Babe. In the crown chakra, Kether. Just breathe. In the lower abdomen. And you'll instantly become calm. And you won't feel angry or the need you won't feel threatened. And you won't need to threaten others. All right. Thank you for joining us, Taurus. This is your angelic horoscope transmission from your guardian angel Uriel and your specific Taurus angel Asmodel. And I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. Thank you for joining us. Join us again next month.